Now we got a fairy tale versus Black Clover. So it's a cross versus battle, right? So the cross versus battle goes like this: it's Natsu from Fairy Tale versus the Vermilion siblings. That's Mereoleona, Fugeleon, and Leopold. All of them are magic knights, right? Natsu is a fire dragon slayer, and if you know about how his magic works, let's just get into it. All right. So the first scenario they'll be fighting in Magnolia, and the second scenario they're fighting in the Clover Kingdom. I know. That's basic places, but I just want to get this fight started because physical strength goes to Natsu. Natsu Dragneel. He went through his training arcs. I would say, I'd say pre-time skip Natsu. Now we're using, full power Natsu in this fight, right? But pre-time skip Natsu is strong enough to, he's out striking Mereoleona and he's outlifting her as well. She's a woman who's very strong, man, but man, come on, man, don't fucking play games with me. He's out here fighting against Gildarts. Now he didn't win that fight pre-time skip. Now he could beat Gildarts. No doubt in my mind about that. And he's strong. He's considered the strongest wizard in the guild. But Natsu respects him too. So, people don't ever look at shit right. But he's definitely, putting hands on fucking Gildarts. And these three characters, they ain't putting hands on Gildarts like that. Striking him with that amount of force, outlifting him. Speed goes to Natsu by a lot. They're not fast. They're not faster than Natsu. The little brother's getting speed bumps. He's definitely getting, he's getting wiped out. He's not like their prodigy. He's not their prodigy. He's out there trying to prove himself that he's just like his siblings. Oh man, he needs a couple 10 more years, maybe. 5 to 10 years, man, because that boy, boom, he's the one getting speed blitzed. Definitely getting speed blitzed, right? So when we got durability comes down to Natsu again. Dragon Slayers, right? These Dragon Slayers are not, weak, and they're not meek. So when it comes to durability, they're pretty durable compared to, other types of wizards. I already said that Natsu has an unbeaten strength. So when he hits them, with all that force, boom, they could break a bone, they could, they could, they can get really fucked up, right? Natsu getting hit by even Mereoleona's punches, he might get a, scrape or bruise, but he ain't breaking any bones. I know, for some of you people who don't watch Fairy Tale, that's crazy to say, but watch Fairy Tale, and I'm right. Endurance-wise, goes to Natsu. See, the thing about this fight is, yeah, Mereoleona does have great endurance. In her show, out of the Magic Knight Camp, she is amazing, right? She can go, 3 rounds against somebody. She'll get right back up and be like, I'm ready for more. I'm ready for more. However, what you don't realize about the girl is, she's not really fighting. Her health bars are low. She has the endurance to keep pushing. And she'll still do that against Natsu. But, hey, man, spoiler alert, Natsu gets stronger as the fight goes on in this scenario. So his endurance, in some ways he's not even breaking a sweat. I ain't even gonna cap, y'all. He's not even breaking a sweat in some aspects of this fight. Now when it comes to intelligence, I will give it to the Vermilion trio. Natsu, man, he ain't the smartest guy. Don't listen to the people who say not too smart. I don't think anybody does, but if they're out there, hey, he's not smart. And like the Vermilion twins, or siblings, they're not super intelligent either, but they fight with side by side one another. So there's cooperation within the group. They could try to come up with some kind of plan at least. That's using their fucking head, right? Um, Now against this opponent, experience goes to Natsu. Natsu's fought all kinds of magical people. People with dark magic. Dark magic knight, or um, dark wizard guild masters and dragons, and his own brother Zeref, who's the most powerful dark wizard. He's fought in all kind of foes. And they have too, but not like Natsu. Close skills go to Natsu. And that's between him and Mereoleona, but Natsu gets the dub there. When it comes to range skills, it goes to Natsu. Any of their range skills don't got a lot of AP. That dragon roar, that shit ain't weak. That shit's powerful. They might all get wiped out with one of those. Well, I wouldn't say all of them. I'd say her brothers are getting fucking cooked. Both of her brothers. You know, they're like, sister, help us. Recovery goes to Natsu. Dragneel. See, when he eats fire, he gains like a buff. And it's not necessarily a healing element. It's not a healing element, but it gives him, strength, speed. It boosts his magical power. It's not healing, but it's compared to what's going on with the other side, they ain't getting any kind of anything. Any damage they take is oh, I'm hurt and I'm not gonna be fighting as effectively as I can. Yeah, it's going to Natsu. And then Hacks definitely go to Natsu as well. With his Dragon Slaying magic, as I said, he can absorb fire and get buffs from it. And that's all they fucking use. They use fire. Now, Mereoleona, lucky for them, this isn't a low diff fight, I wouldn't say. Because Mereoleona does have some, combat skills. She knows how to throw fucking hands a little bit. But again, against Natsu, man, not happening. Environment goes to Natsu in the first scenario as they're fighting Fairy Tail. So, Natsu wins this fight mid difficulty. Next scenario, inside of Black Clover, a world that Natsu doesn't know, but he's a person with a hell of a lot of magical power. And in that world, they would be able to tell that he has a lot of magical power because like they're both magic based, animes, so they'd be able to tell. At least Mereoleona and Fugeleon would. Strength goes to Natsu, speed goes to Natsu, durability goes to Natsu, and endurance goes to Natsu. Intelligence goes to the Vermilion siblings. The experience goes to Natsu. Close skills go to Natsu. Range skills go to Natsu. Recovery goes to Natsu. Hacks go to Natsu. And then the environment goes to the Vermilion, siblings here. But it didn't mean nothing because this Dragon Slayer. I didn't even talk about he has the fired lightning dragon form, and then he has the Atlas flame, and the dragon fires are even more powerful than his own flame. But then he combines all these flames to make an even stronger fire. They have no resistance to fire. Natsu does to greater degrees than these animals do. They cannot output more fire than he can. Definitely not even Mereoleona. She cannot output enough fire to do any kind of damage to Natsu. But what he's outputting, shit. When I tell you that he could use a Dragon Slayer roar and like wipe them, all out, he actually could. Um, I think Mereoleona would still be standing though. I think she would still be standing, and she would try to do her best. And well, she ends up losing that fight. Mid difficulty, Natsu wins. Hey, Black Clover fans, I don't hate Black Clover like you think, but I know which verse is better. I've watched both. I watched both anime multiple times. That's what it is. Even look like Google agrees with me, so I think you might just like your anime character, your favorite character too much, and you're kind of, wanking them or, trying to see if they're, like that in the anime. And I'll tell you that right now. But be cool, call in the corner, and let me know what you think in the comments below.